In Japan, there exists a mysterious train station, and once you enter, you will fall into a time loop. On one day in 2002, a high school girl named Asuka was riding the train home when she unexpectedly passed through a tunnel that should not have existed. After passing through the tunnel, strange scenery appeared outside the window, and the train finally arrived at a place called Kisaragi Station. This was a station that did not exist in the real world at all. Stepping off this train, along with Asuka, were an office worker, 3 young men and women, and a female college student named Haruna. Led by Haruna, the group walked along the tracks toward the next station. On the way, they were first chased by an old man with a cane, and then they passed through a deserted tunnel that radiated an eerie atmosphere. Suddenly, a man appeared, driving a car, and attacked them. Strangely, Haruna seemed to have already foreseen these dangers, and was always able to act in time to resolve them one by one. In the end, Haruna guided Asuka toward a gate of light, while Haruna herself remained forever in the other world. Passing through the gate, Asuka successfully returned to the real world, but she never expected that while only a single day had passed in the other world, 20 years had gone by in reality. Her mother had become mentally unstable because of Asuka's disappearance, and when they finally reunited, her mother could no longer recognize her. 2 years after returning to reality, Asuka attended a class reunion, but everyone was talking about her appearance. Although she was now 40 years old, Asuka still had the face of a 20-year-old. Since her return to the real world, she had told people around her everything that happened at Kisaragi Station, but no one believed her words. She was even insulted by strangers on the street who called her supernatural, and she was constantly slandered with malicious remarks. Some even secretly filmed her and uploaded videos online, which brought waves of gossip and rumors. Her personal information was exposed, and she became a target for attacks from others. Fortunately, Asuka's high school teacher Junko was the only one who understood her, because Junko had also entered Kisaragi Station 7 years earlier, and through her own efforts, she had successfully returned to the real world. At that time, just like Asuka now, Junko too had faced all kinds of attacks. One day, a university student specifically interviewed her for a thesis paper, and this student turned out to be Haruna, the one who later saved Asuka. With Junko's help, Haruna discovered the method to enter Kisaragi Station, which was the main reason why she was so familiar with the other world. Through Asuka's further investigation, it was discovered that among the 5 people who entered the other world with her, the whereabouts of 3 had been confirmed. Takashi, with Haruna's help, also returned to the real world, but during the years of his disappearance, his wife and daughter had long since left him. Another young man was also rescued by Haruna, but after returning to the real world, he lived in constant fear and eventually threw himself onto the tracks, ending his life. The third survivor was a young woman, but because of severe psychological trauma, she turned to self-harm, and her remaining life was spent in a hospital. Although these people had managed to return to the real world, without exception, they all ended up unhappy. Not long after, Asuka accidentally discovered a video posted online by a blogger claiming to have gone to Kisaragi Station, and upon closer look, she realized the blogger was Junko's niece. The next day, Asuka went to Junko's home, wanting to know how to reach Kisaragi Station, but Junko refused to tell her, and directly pushed Asuka out the door. Helpless, Asuka quietly snuck in through the back door, and after searching, she finally found Rin tied up behind the wardrobe. Just then, Junko discovered her and threatened her with scissors, demanding that she leave. It turned out Rin had already been to Kisaragi Station and had now returned to the real world. Junko, fearing her niece would be harmed, had locked her up. To stop Asuka from taking Rin away, Junko charged at her with scissors, but Asuka quickly pulled Rin into the car and sped away from Junko's home. Back at home, Rin told Asuka that when Haruna had come to interview Junko, she had overheard their conversation and learned the method to reach Kisaragi Station. Rin had successfully entered the other world and even met Haruna, and in the end, it was Haruna who guided her to the Gate of Light, allowing her to return to the real world. Asuka had always believed that passing through the Gate of Light meant returning to reality, but Rin said it was not so. From what she had overheard, the first person to enter the gate would ultimately become the sacrifice, and it was those left behind who would be saved. Therefore, Haruna always let others enter the Gate of Light first, not knowing that the very first person to enter would actually return directly to the real world. After hearing this, Asuka felt it was hard to believe, unwilling to accept that Haruna could be such a person. The scene shifted, and Asuka found a reporter named Hitomi, who had planned to cover Asuka's story, but for various reasons the program was suddenly halted. Many people had filed complaints to ban the reporting of supernatural events, and Hitomi had no choice but to compromise. Asuka stressed again and again that she had truly experienced Kisaragi Station, but seeing the hesitation on Hitomi's face, she finally had no choice but to leave in disappointment. To prove herself, Asuka once again boarded the train, and from Rin she had learned the method of entering the other world, so she got on and off the train again and again, and after countless attempts, she finally discovered that the train had suddenly become completely empty. Immediately after, the train passed through a strange and unsettling tunnel. When she opened her eyes again, she realized she had already entered the other world. Inside the carriage were 4 people she had never seen before, as well as Haruna, who had never left the other world. Asuka told Haruna that this was her second time in the other world, and that the first time Haruna had saved her. But this time, she had come to save Haruna. Asuka also declared that she would stay in the other world forever, becoming the sacrifice of Kisaragi Station, so that no one else would have to die. After reaching Kisaragi Station, Asuka and Haruna ran together along the tracks. Along the way, they once again encountered the old man with the cane. They also faced the man who appeared driving a car, but together they managed to deal with him as well. Asuka then reminded Haruna that if she managed to return to the real world, she must find the reporter Hitomi and tell her everything that had happened here. They soon arrived at a school, and relying on her memory, Asuka said that a gate of light would appear there. When Haruna saw a wooden stick, she instantly recalled the past, when she had used this very stick to save Asuka. At that moment, they both noticed a shadow flash by their side. They slowly stepped forward to investigate, and the next second, the door of the cabinet behind them suddenly opened on its own. To their horror, the people who had arrived at Kisaragi Station with them earlier had now all turned into the Walking Dead, and they began attacking Asuka and Haruna in a frenzy. In the end, Haruna was pinned against the wall by one of the men, while Asuka was tackled by a young man and also exploded. The scene shifted, and the 6 of them reappeared unharmed, once again back on the train. This time, they still retained their memories from the last round, and Asuka guessed it was because this was her second time in the other world, and so the rules of the game had changed. Asuka shared all the information she knew with the other 4. When they reached Kisaragi Station, the others immediately rushed ahead, eager to find the Gate of Light and be the first to escape the other world, fearing otherwise they would once again turn into the Walking Dead. But at that moment, Daisuke failed to notice a red tendril crawling into his pant leg. The next second, his entire body was covered with red veins. The rest of the group was then chased once again by the old man with the cane. As everyone fled desperately, Daisuke transformed into one of the Walking Dead and tried to attack Haruna. But through the close cooperation of Asuka and Haruna, both the old man and Daisuke exploded. According to the sequence of events, the car was about to appear, so they picked up stones, successfully took down the man, and stole his car to drive to the school. Since everyone now retained their memories from the previous round, they could predict what would happen next. Asuka picked up the stick and prepared herself, and the moment Daisuke appeared, she struck him hard with it. Yeah! Then, Haruna took the stick and walked into the classroom, and at that moment, the man who had attacked her slowly appeared before her. After eliminating all threats, their next task was to find the Gate of Light. Just as they rushed to get out, Haruna suddenly heard a strange noise. Before anyone could react, the ground collapsed beneath them, and they all fell down. When Asuka woke up, she found the other 4 had already died, and she too could not escape, as a heavy stone crushed her to death. The scene shifted again, and a new round of the game began, with everyone waking up once more while still retaining their memories. This time, Asuka pleaded with everyone to work together as a team. After this experience, the others gradually believed that Asuka could truly help them. Soon the train once again arrived at Kisaragi Station, but this time, the group did not rush ahead blindly, instead following Asuka's lead step by step. They quickly encountered the old man with the cane again, but this time, no one was afraid. Through countless repeated experiences, they had already become familiar with everything that was about to happen. Finally, they drove to the school, and everyone looked at Asuka with admiration. applauding her. Then they confidently walked into the school, and this time all 6 of them stayed together, knowing they only needed to eliminate that driver. Cautiously, Asuka approached the door to prevent another collapse, but when she opened it, she was stunned to find only a dead end. At that moment, Hayata was the first to hear movement outside, and everyone rushed to the window. They saw the gate of light slowly opening, and everyone's hearts were filled with hope. Asuka reminded them that only the first person to rush through the gate could return to the real world. Without hesitation, the others all dashed forward, but to their shock, a giant eye appeared before them, and one by one they were swallowed whole. In an instant, everyone was back at the starting point, shaken with fear from the giant eye. Asuka told them not to lose heart, insisting there must be a way to break through. So they repeated the challenge again and again, trying every possible method, yet they could never escape the eye's attack. They even began to analyze strategies, but it was clear none of them worked. Until one time, when Haruna hit on a chair, the eyeball suddenly stopped attacking her, but the moment her feet touched the ground, she was immediately devoured by the eyeball. Soon they had to start over once again, and Haruna guessed that as long as their feet did not touch the ground, the eye might not attack. To test her theory, she lifted a desk and charged straight toward the eye. Seeing this, the others carried countless chairs from the school, trying to build a path that could lead to the Gate of Light. But when all the desks and chairs were used up, there was still a distance left. In the end, only a wooden plank was left, but they were not sure if it would work. So they used the scissor game to decide who would try it. Daisuke ended up with the worst luck. He cautiously stepped onto the plank, looked around, and noticed the eyeball did not appear. It was clear they had to stand higher to avoid the eye's attack, but now there were no taller objects left in the school for them to use to build the path. As everyone grew desperate, Haruna suggested saving just one person first, while the other 4 acted as decoys. After Asuka's repeated pleas, the group unanimously decided Haruna would be the one saved this time. Kamada and his wife, along with Hayato, all fell as sacrifices, while Asuka shielded Haruna at every step to keep her safe. But at the final moment, Haruna pushed Asuka away, giving her the chance to enter the Gate of Light instead. Strangely, after the Gate of Light disappeared, Asuka did not return to reality. Immediately after, they were back on the train again, each person now utterly exhausted and emotionally drained. Asuka suspected it was because this was her second time in the other world, which had increased the difficulty of the game and dragged everyone else down. Not long after, the train arrived at Kisaragi Station again, and they had already grown used to it, stepping off without hesitation. But this time, Asuka grabbed Haruna's hand.
ありました。何？まだやってないこと。降りない。
Sure enough, Haruna was redeemed, finally freed from the endless cycle of death. After leaving the other world, Haruna met Hitomi and told her everything that had happened inside. In the end, Hitomi ignored her television station's objections and released the documentary online. Unexpectedly, some viewers figured out the method of entering Kisaragi Station. Soon after, a flood of curious internet users came to Kisaragi Station, turning it into a popular hotspot. And all of this had actually been part of Asuka's plan because she had once told people about Kisaragi Station, but no one believed her, and she had endured unbearable online abuse. She knew that people only believe what they have experienced with their own eyes. That was the complete story of the 2025 Japanese horror film Kisaragi Station Rei. That's all for today's sharing. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.